Hey everyone, today we're looking at the power reading test number 10 for selective preparation. Let's get straight into it. Okay, question 1. So this first text is called Buck Up and Pay for Star Bogut. And this is about a basketball player, and it's a news report about him staying with his team or choosing to leave his team and things like that. So pause the video over here, read this text, and then have a read through question 1. So question 1 says, why does the writer suggest critics will be silenced? Okay, so as you read, Australian NBA star Andrew Bogut will sign a 5-year, $72 million extension with the Milwaukee Bucks this week, his agent said yesterday. So basically he's staying with the team that he's currently with. Okay, now, over here it says, the signing should also silence critics who feel the team hasn't shown a commitment to winning, Bowman said. So this whole move for paying this guy $70 million so he can stay is going to silence critics because it shows a commitment to winning. Okay, this $75 million investment in this person has shown a big commitment, so that's why it's going to silence these critics. Okay, so let's look at which of these answers works the best now. A, the signing of Andrew Bogut is a guarantee for success. This isn't necessarily true because, well, nothing is really a guarantee, so we can't say this. B, fans think that Andrew Bogut should be paid a lot of money. Okay, this is true, but it's talking about why critics will be silenced. Critics are people that are, talking negatively about this. Okay, like reviewers and things like that. So this is talking about fans, which is out as well. So now it's between C and D. The team is prepared to pay a significant amount for an important player. Okay, this does show what's happening here, and it shows that this is a big commitment they're making. They're paying a significant amount. So C could work. And D, because the Milwaukee Bucks haven't been successful, why does the writer suggest critics will be silenced? This doesn't make sense for silencing the critics because the critics believe that this team is not committing enough. So this paying a significant amount is the best answer here because this shows a big commitment. Okay, 1C is your best answer here. Now, question 2. Which word best summarizes the recent form of the Bucks? So that's the name of the team, the Milwaukee Bucks. That's the NBA basketball team. Has their form been outstanding, good, reasonable, or poor? Okay, let's have a look in this text. Let's see how they've been. Okay, so one clue is the fact that critics thought that this team isn't even committed to winning. Right over here, the team hasn't shown a commitment to winning, which means it seems like they're not even trying, which means they're probably not performing outstanding. They're not performing out good, probably. So it's between reasonable and poor now. And then the second, place where you can find your answer is around over here. Okay, it says, despite the Bucks' struggles, Bogut was keen to stay. Which means that although the Bucks were performing bad because they've been struggling, although the Bucks have been struggling, he still chose to stay. Which means their performance recently has been poor. Okay, which means, they're not really doing too well in the NBA right now. So 2 is D. Now, question 3. The fact that Andrew Bogut is prepared to stay with a struggling team is a sign of what? A, greed, B, stupidity, C, loyalty, or D, embarrassment. Okay, so if he's staying with a struggling team, that doesn't really show greed at all, because you would choose to leave the team and go for a team that's paying you more if that would be a greedy move. So this is not what he did. Stupidity could be your answer. So let's keep this in mind. Loyalty is a really good way of putting it because he's loyal to the team, which means he doesn't want to leave them. So this works. And D, embarrassment doesn't really explain why he would choose to stay with a struggling team. If he was embarrassed to be on a struggling team, then he would choose to leave the team. So that doesn't explain why he would stay with the team. So now it's between stupidity and loyalty. And your best answer is loyalty because of this line over here. Same one we looked at in the previous question. Despite the Bucks' struggles, Bogut was keen to stay, which means he wanted to stay. Okay, so he wasn't being stupid. He was just being loyal to his team. He'd played with this team before for many years, so he chose to stay with them. Okay, 3, your answer is C. Alright, now we're moving on to the closed passage questions. This one is called Bloody Bridge, and it's about kind of a story about a murder and about who was the murder in this actual story. Okay, so it's kind of a legend. So again, read the text over here, pause the video, and continue once you've finished reading. These are your options. And question 4 is over here, the highlighted question here. So, If you read the first line, just to get an idea of what the story is about, of all the terrible legends of Norfolk Island, this is perhaps the most famous. So this is some famous legend. Blah, blah, blah. The story goes like this. In the time of the second convict settlement of Norfolk Island in 1825, a detachment of convicts, these are prisoners, convicts are prisoners, was engaged in the construction of a stone bridge across the creek in Music Valley at the eastern end of the island. Okay, so some prisoners were building a stone bridge, pretty much. Something happens, and then one of the convicts struck the guard from behind with a rock from the bridge, killing him instantly. Okay, so it seems like we're making a really big leap in between this part over here, where we're just introducing that these prisoners are building a bridge. Something happens, and then boom, this guard is getting murdered now. So in between here, we need to be explaining that. And we also need to introduce this guard, right? We haven't introduced this guard yet. One of the convicts struck the guard, and it's talking as if it's already introduced the guard, as if we already know who the guard is. So that's what question 4, or the blank space 4, is going to have to do. Introduce who the guard is, or whoever's looking over these prisoners. Okay, let's look at these options now. A. The overseer was a particularly brutal one, and he taunted the convicts until they rebelled. One of the convicts struck the guard from behind with a rock. Pretty much makes sense. This introduces the overseer, who is the guard, and until they rebelled leads really well into the convicts just killing the guard, because that's how they rebelled. They killed the guard. So this works really well. Let's keep it in mind. C. The solution was to wall up the body of the unfortunate guard in the half-finished bridge. Okay, so this is almost backwards. We're talking about the dead guard here, and next line we're talking about how the guard was killed. So it's almost going backwards, so this doesn't really work in order. D. All was going well until a suspicious red stain was seen to be weeping from between the hurriedly placed rocks. Okay, this one could work as well. One of the convicts struck the guard from behind with a rock from the bridge, killing him instantly. Okay, so this one, again, is kind of backwards. We see a red stain, and then we see that the guard is killed. So it's almost like going backwards again. So similar to C here. This one seems like it might become after in the text. Last one is one guard was framed for the murder. But this doesn't explain what murder we're talking about. The murder, again, would come after this explanation. So E is out as well. A would then be your answer for question 4. The overseer was a particularly brutal one, and he taunted the convicts until they rebelled. Okay, so as these prisoners were building the bridge, the guards just used to make fun of them, and that led to them eventually getting sick of it and killing the guard. Okay, question 5. Let's keep reading. One of the convicts struck the guard from behind with a rock from the bridge, killing him instantly. The convicts knew that they would be hung if found out, but what to do with the body? Something, something, something. When the overseer was found to be missing at the change of guard time, blah, blah, blah. So, what to do with the body? This is kind of the question we're going to be answering in this next question, in this next line. Okay? So, let's see. What did they do with the body? The body, of course, was soon discovered, and after a swift trial, the convicts were found guilty of murder. This seems like it's almost a conclusion, right? And the body, we haven't explained where it was, so we can't say it's been discovered already. We don't even know where it was, so B is out. C, the solution was to wall up the body of the unfortunate guard in the half-finished bridge. Okay, this explains perfectly what they did with the body. So this is probably going to be our answer. Let's keep this in mind. D, all was going well until a suspicious red stain was seen to be weeping from between the hurriedly placed rocks. Okay, it says what to do with the body, and then it says all was going well. So it seems like we're missing something in between where they did something with the body. So again, D doesn't work. And E, one guard was framed for the murder. It was well known among the convicts and guards that he and the overseer did not get along. This does not explain what's happening with the body, right? It doesn't explain this question that we asked in the previous line. So E is out as well, and your answer would be C, as expected. But you should always go to the other options and make sure that there's not a better one. Okay, even if you think this is for sure the answer, always go and check the answers. So 5 is C. Now, question 6. You've already used A and C, so we only have B and D to choose from. Very easy for this one. Okay, a search failed to find the guards, so the convicts were questioned more closely. All was going well until a suspicious red stain was seen to be weeping from between the hurriedly placed rocks. Okay, this could work. So basically the convicts said that, oh, we don't know where the guard is. We think it was a hot day. He must have just went for a swim and he probably drowned in the ocean. Maybe, I don't know. Of course, they murdered him, so they weren't trying to get caught. So they made up this story. And this all was going well really makes sense as the next line. So we'll keep this in mind. Now let's see if B works better. A search failed to find the guard, so the convicts were questioned more closely. The body, of course, was soon discovered, and after a swift trial, the convicts were found guilty of murder. Okay, now this one actually does flow quite well, but D is just a little bit better because it leads off better from the questioning that the convicts undertook. Okay, so it says the convicts were questioned closely. You know, they were interrogated. What happened? Are you sure this is what happened? When did he go down to the ocean? And then it says the body, of course, was soon discovered, but it doesn't lead as well from the questioning as D does. So D is just a better answer than B right now. Okay, all was going well, you know, in terms of the questioning. The questioning was fine. They had their story straight until they found this red stain weeping between these rocks. Okay, so D is your answer for 6. Now the final blank space here, question 7. So after they found the red stain, something happened, and then they were executed the very next day. So once they found the stain, you can assume something happened. The convicts were probably killed. Let's see. The body, of course, was soon discovered, and after a swift trial, the convicts were found guilty of murder. They were executed the very next day. Okay, this works perfectly. Now let's just look at E again. One guard was framed for the murder. It was well known among the convicts and guards that he and the overseer did not get along. They were executed the very next day. Okay, so this is saying the guard was the murderer. This is saying the convicts were the murderer. So who actually took the blame? Now, the key here is this word over here. They were executed the very next day. This is a pronoun, right? It's like when you don't want to use the name of someone, you say he, she, they, we, me. This is a pronoun that says they. Now, you use the word they when you're referring to multiple people, right? They went to the beach means 1 or 2 people. More than 2 people went to the beach. So because we use the word they here, in this previous sentence, we have to be talking about multiple people. Okay? So one guard is not multiple people, which means E is out. After a swift trial, the convicts were found guilty of murder. The convicts are multiple people. So that's how we know 7B is your answer here. Okay? B is your answer for question 7. Now, moving on to text 2. It's a pretty long one. Now, this is talking about the different organic farms that exist in Australia now and how they're kind of growing in popularity. Okay, so more people want organic farms and more people want organic products. So, again, pause the video, read it here, and continue. Question 8. Compared to traditional farming methods, organic farming can best be described as outdated, better for the environment, inefficient, or popular. Okay, compared to traditional farming methods, how can you describe organic farming? So first of all, what is organic farming? It's pretty much described as when you use completely natural means to grow foods and to grow or to, you know, produce animals and things like that. It's all natural, right? There's no man-made things that you're doing. It's all organic. Okay? So how can it be described? Outdated would not work because this text is describing it as, you know, recently it's been growing in popularity, which means, well, if something's outdated, it means it's, you know, it's gone. No one cares about it anymore. But it seems like more people care about or you know, using organic farming now. So outdated is out. Better for the environment works. Now, this section which has been highlighted, consumers are learning about certified organic and looking for the logo. They're concerned about the health benefits, the environment, and animal welfare issues. And then organic farming has been the norm for 3 generations. So this is saying that people choose organic foods when they care or when they're concerned about the health benefits and the environmental and animal welfare issues. Okay, which means organic farming or organic produce helps the environment. So that's saying it's better for the environment, which is true. So let's keep this in mind. Now, can it be described as inefficient? Now, inefficient means, you know, maybe it's a bit worse or it's more expensive than traditional farming methods, but we don't get any information about that. We don't get any information about the pricing or anything like that. So D is out, or C is out as well. And D, popular, could work because there's a lot of demand, it seems like, and it's boosting by more than 80% since 2004. So it is becoming more popular. But the difference here is the word compared to traditional farming methods. Okay? Now, traditional farming methods are popular already, right? Everyone does them. That's why they're traditional farming methods. So when you're comparing them, saying that organic farming is popular and traditional farming is popular as well doesn't really make sense as a comparison when you're comparing 2 things. So 8B would be the better answer here. Okay, organic farming is better for the environment when compared to traditional farming methods. Okay, so 8, your answer is B. Now, question 9. In economic terms, which of the following statements currently applies to organic farming? Supply is not meeting demand. There is more supply than demand. Farms are running at a loss rather than profit. Or it is a waste of time. Okay, now your answer is going to come from here. Organic processors have been issued a plea for more farmers to adopt the techniques needed to meet the demand. Okay, so there's two key words here, supply and demand. Right, now the demand refers to the amount of people who want organic foods. Right, that demand at the moment is really high. A lot of people want organic produce. And the supply refers to how many organic farmers there are. Right, there might not be many organic farmers. And that's what it's saying here. They're saying more farmers have to go organic because so many people want organic foods. So we need more organic farmers. So what it's saying here really is that there's not enough farmers to meet the expectations of people that want organic foods. So the best answer here would be supply is not meeting demand. A is your best answer here. Okay? Because we can't meet the expectations of people right now because it's booming so much. B, there is more supply than demand, is saying that there's too many organic foods, there's too many organic farmers, but that's not the case here. C is saying farms are running at a loss rather than a profit, which means they're not making any money. But that's not true either, because this organic farmland is the largest of any food producing nation, right? These organic food producers are booming, so they're making a lot of money, so they're not running at a loss either. And D, it's a waste of time, is just a filler answer. We know this is wrong because so many people want organic produce. So 9, answer is A. Now, final question here. Question 10. To ensure they're getting organic food, people need to do what? A, buy the most expensive product. B, do a taste test before buying. C, make sure it is certified and look for the logo. Or D, become organic farmers themselves. Now this one, even just looking at the options, you can kind of cross out the options which don't make any sense, right? If you want to make sure that your food is organic, it's not reasonable to become an organic farmer just to check what foods you're eating. So D is probably out. A, to buy the most expensive product some people do that. So let's see what information we get from reading this final paragraph. Shoppers need to look for the certification logo, said Dr. Andrew Monk of Biological Farmers Australia. It is harder to farm organically and the product will cost more. Consumers make a conscious decision to choose organic, but don't buy if it's not certified. Okay, so he does say the product will cost more, which means it's probably going to be more expensive, but he doesn't say that you should just base it off the price. He says you need to look for the certification logo and you need to make sure it's certified because don't buy it if it's not certified. So the focus here is making sure it's certified. So 10C is your answer. So if you guys want organic food, make sure you look for the logo. Make sure it's certified. It's real organic food. Okay, now we're finished with this test. So let's go through a few key points. 1 is the procedure for closed passage questions. Read the text, read all the potential answers, and then slot in each answer to make sure or to see which one works. Okay. Now another thing in closed passage questions is that the pronoun used can give away the answer. So we saw that in the previous question in the murder mystery story, where it said they over here. Okay, so they used the pronoun they, which gave us a clue that in the previous blank space, we were going to be talking about multiple people. So if you look at this example as well, if this was your blank space, this space over here, and after it said people always said he was a kind person, he is your key here. That means that this sentence is going to be talking about that person, this he over here. So maybe you could say, people always liked John, right? People always said he was a kind person. Okay, so that works because we have the pronoun he. Okay, now I've finished with this test.